Welcome to JotaonCode. Today we're going to talk in regards to Docker volumes, but in this case we're going to be talking in regards to Docker volumes in conjunction with MySQL and how to get some information to the dump of MySQL and how, from the dump of MySQL and transform it into data from that volume. Then if you want to, you can apply it into another Docker container and play around a little bit with some of these things, because during the last video that we talked about, we were looking at how to get information to a Docker volume, and which is actually alright, but of course it does not come with the flexibility and proper, I mean not proper, but actually does not come with the does not show the flexibility that you can actually get with Docker volumes. And that's one of the most important features, but at the same time it's kind of complex how to proceed in regards to that, because the thing is the following: Docker volumes comes with so many different options and so many different things that you can do with them that it is sometimes a little bit better to have some sort of abstraction, and this abstraction help you to make those common usages of a Docker volume in a cool way, we can say. Sometimes there are even changes inside of the Docker volumes. For example, I think in the past they were using bind and now they are using mount, and so on and so forth. And having these kind of things with this abstraction, like saying it could be an orchestrator, like saying Docker Compose, or could be minikube. These guys out there can help you a lot in regards to work with different volumes, save the information that you need into a certain volume, and then just grab it to a certain container. And these things are actually happening behind the scenes of these orchestrators, right? That's the reason that sometimes playing around with Docker volumes offers a lot of flexibility, but in the same time it gets a little bit complex at the moment of explaining things and how to say that this is actually working in this way, because there is so much to say, we can say. So let's jump into it. Let's take a look into what's the offering there. And so basically this one here is going to be the little JotaonCode distributed system is going to get this this file here, where I'm going to get some readme and some information there, and I'm going to show some of the things that we are doing right now. But I'm going to push some more things with the changes that we are going to do now in this moment. So what we have here is the following: we have Docker file, dump, and MySQL. The MySQL is inside the dump, right? Here we can even see that dump comes with the example database and the users, right? After that, you can also see that there is something like the readme that you see down there, and there's a Docker file, cat Docker file, which actually comes with just two instructions. One is going to be the MySQL 5.7, and the other one is going to be making the init-db-sh inside of this route. As it says inside of this guy here, when you want to initialize initializing a fresh instance, you can actually use this here in order to provide certain sh or SQL or whatever you want there, not whatever, just these three extensions there, and then this Docker image that you're extending from is going to be reading this position in order to know if there is something that we need to initialize. So saying this, what we're going to do is the following: we're going to provide here we're going to provide the creation of a certain Docker file, the creation of the build, sorry, the build of the Docker container, right? So in this case we're going to build it, and there we are. And now next step, we're going to say we're going to create the volume. So I already have some commands behind the scenes there because I already tried before a little bit, right? So you can see here we have data, but we're going to create data in a different position. I don't want it to be here. I want it to be one directory down, right? I'm going to explain you later why. I'm going to move also the dump one directory down. Actually, yes, I'm going to move it down. That's good. So here only have the Docker file, the init.db.sh, and the reason why I'm trying to do this is because of this. Let's see. I'm going to grab one more time the image, and I'm going to remove the image MySQL example, right? I'm going to build it one more time, and this time is 512, right? But before it was 6 something. So the reason for this is because it's carrying the context, and the context comes from these files here. If you have a big dump, you don't want to have that dump in the creation of the context, because that's going to be a huge amount of time and memory consumption here, right? So you want to have that there. Probably you want to have it in a certain Docker dump volume, right? So what we're going to create is just that. We're going to create a volume that's going to be like this one, dump, but it's going to be one directory down. As we just move it, we're going to use, yes, this is correct. So it's going to be driver local, it's going to be inside of this device, and it's going to bind it to MySQL, to that directory, and it's going to be MySQL dump, right? So let's create it. Let's see the volumes. There it is. I'm going to remove this guy here because it's an old guy that was trying out. Okay, that's not what I'm looking for. MySQL data p2. Thank you. Docker volume ls. And we have the app. Let's inspect MySQL dump. And there it is. It is pointing out to this one. Just to try it out, we can say, and there it is. All is good. Now we're going to create another one. But this one is going to be data, and it's going to be pointing out to this one. Yes, distributed systems data. I'm going to call it my MySQL data, right? So far so good. We got this second volume, right? I'm going to create a folder as well because I did not create it. It already created the folder by default. Yes, let's see. That's correct. Okay, we have the other data. Restore. Okay, and what we're going to do now is going to be just, we created 2 volumes, right? Pointing to each one of the different folders. What we need to do is the following. As you can see here, I'm trying to create a, I already created a Docker image, right? Yes. So what we're going to create is the following. It's going to be a MySQL, it's going to be a MySQL example. We're going to run it, and we're going to mount the, as I was trying out before, I was calling it version 2, spoiler. So basically we have here the following. We have MySQL data that's going to be pointing out to a certain source. That source is going to be the one that comes with the slash data was before, and that's going to be pointing out to inside of the container, inside of the barlib MySQL. Yeah, we're going to get one more, so we can say mount source MySQL dump target slash dump. this should be right, but I'm a bit skeptic about the script, so I want to see. Yes, that's correct. So it is pointing out to this one inside of the container, right? So this should be okay. The target of MySQL dump goes there. Okay. Let's see how it goes. Docker ps. It's running. Docker ps, docker logs, MySQL example, and it's up and running. So this already created the data inside of this and the example there. You can see the example. You need to say sudo here to go to the example. And there is the users that we created with the MySQL dump. So far so good. We get all the information that we're looking for. So even we can say -it MySQL example bash. Let's go for bash. And inside of that, you can see here the dump. You can see also the data inside of var lib MySQL. It's actually pretty nice. Cool. The cool part on that is that, of course, all the data is going to be with all the things from MySQL dumped. So that's the reason that we have it outside of this folder, because you don't want it in the context of the build of the Docker, right? So far so good. We got everything up and running. Now I can say docker stop MySQL example. I can remove the container and I can remove the image. Docker images, docker ps. Okay, so far so good. We got everything we need there. Now I'm going to run I'm going to build first my example again. I'm going to run again my example with MySQL. Let's see. Is everything right? Yeah. Host MySQL example. Docker exec -it MySQL example bash ls. And now we are going to go to this guy here and see that we get, and there it is. So you see, I destroyed the guy. I created a brand new instance and I reused the same containers. So you can actually, this is the cool part in regards to the volumes. You can actually create those volumes by the side and then just plug them in another Docker container image that you want to run, and that's going to be pretty nice because you can actually just plug things up and run up and down whenever you want to there, right? And it can get pretty interesting there. But the problem, of course, is that things also, things can actually change at some point. For example, before they were using bind, now they are using mount, and also some of these different options, so many different options that you can get with Docker containers. Some things, these inline solutions can get a bit messy. For example, if you take a look into this one here, you see here I'm saying, okay, you can create something like this. Of course, you're going to need to create your own folder. You can also define things like this in one line. So if you want to define the Docker volume and then assign it, you can create one line like this, and this is going to work as well. So I think I repeated here, but anyway, you can actually run the whole thing like this, but the volumes are not going to be created with a certain name. They're going to be implicitly named by Docker. So this is some of the different options that you get here. For today, it's going to be just this one, just to see these small examples in regards to working with. They're not so small, actually. We did a lot of stuff here, but it's in regards to how you can actually create volumes, how to populate these volumes, provide these volumes into a certain instance of Docker, and it's super nice. But there is a moment that I think it is good to actually consider going for another solution like a Docker Compose, like a minikube as well, with all the persistent volumes that you can get out there. So my proposal for the next one is going to be taking a look into Docker Compose solution, which is pretty much straightforward, just a configuration file in the YAML. And the next step will be taking a look into what's going to be a minikube persistent volume, which is going to give you a lot of different options that probably you're going to be using as well in a station or production if you're running Kubernetes cluster out there. So that's it for today. I hope that you like it, and if you did so, give it a like and subscribe to the channel. It's a pleasure, and thank you very much for your patience. Have a good one.